my life forever. I remember the day I came home. Because of my injuries, this house wasn't right for me anymore. I remember.
You still live in Toronto? Or like,
Yeah.
Toronto's. I went up there a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah, it just ended up being like the time that worked.
I felt trapped.
Honestly, going to like a family member's house when you got like a little kid is like the best thing to do because then you can like put them to sleep and like hang out. Like,
Yeah.
Like, I remember what it was like having little kids.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Now we have a safe and accessible home to enjoy.
How's he sleeping? Is he doing like pretty well?
He's doing pretty good.
That's a relief.
Is exactly what we needed to rebuild our lives.
Nick was telling me his kid like doesn't sleep. I'm like, that was horrible.
How old is Nick's kid?
Like within like a month or like, I mean, they're like basically the same age.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm past that point where I like, you're like, oh, so many months. I'm like 0.
Yeah.
Like how old is the kid?
Yeah.
How old's your kids? I remember people used to ask me that all the time. They come up to me like grocery stores.
Yeah.
I'm like walking around with like, how old a kid? I'm like 0. Get away from me. I don't know. You don't put your dirty hands on my kid. Like, you know, people like want to like, touch the baby and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're ready. Yeah.
The following programming is sponsored by Tom Toole III. The views expressed do not necessarily reflect this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group.
Good afternoon, Greater Philadelphia area. This is Tool Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole. She's Sarah Tymon. We both work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line, the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. We had the first Fed meeting last week, Sarah, with new chairperson Kevin Warsh that we are going to unpack. He's got a lot of changes happening. There's some questions about what's going to happen with rates, and we'll tell everyone what that means when it comes to housing. And right now, this is very interesting. 53% of buyers say they would purchase a home without any humans helping them. And we've got a ton of stuff happening in the greater Philadelphia area for the 250th coming up in a couple of weeks, as well as some incredible new listings and a ton of open houses that we're going to share with you. So if you get some value out of this or you like what you hear, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications, and if you want to schedule a call with our team, you can do that with the link right in the comments. Sarah has you covered. She's an absolute pro, whether it's selling, buying, or both. She's got you covered. Just click on the link. So, did you watch the Fed meeting, Sarah? You're watching C-SPAN all day long? Yeah, I don't blame you. They're pretty boring, but significant here because Kevin Warsh, he's the new Federal Reserve Chair. This was his first meeting, and there was some noted changes here. They didn't adjust rates at all, which is what everyone expected. And 9 of the 18 members who submitted their projections, Kevin Warsh abstained, which I found very interesting because Jerome Powell would always like put his 2 cents in at the end.
Yeah.
It looks like that's going away. 9 people expect at least 1 rate hike by the end of the year and expect that the federal funds rate's above 3.8%. Are you surprised by what happened here? You know, tell me what your reaction is to the Fed holding steady and people expecting higher rates later in 2026 when initially we were talking about rate cuts at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not surprised that they just held it. I think that's kind of what everything was pointing to. It would have been like surprising if they had done something different. You know, I think predictions change all the time. Mm-hmm. So, you know, earlier in the year, yes, they were talking about the possibility of several cuts. I guess we'd have to roll back and see what our predictions were compared to the other ones. I mean, I thought that there would be like 1 or 2. The fact that now they're potentially talking about doing a rate hike, honestly, like things happen throughout the year that you're not aware of at the beginning of the year. So change happens, and I honestly wouldn't be surprised if there was a rate hike at some point.
Well, you bring up a good point because no one predicted the Iran conflict,
right,
which drove oil prices up. Now they're back in like the $70 range. They've come down. And that's one of many surprises that can happen throughout the year. When you look at what they're talking about here, what I am most interested in is, you know, you got a new chairperson coming in. It's his first meeting. He's probably playing nice and trying to roll things out and do things the way that he wants to do. To me, notably, what they did was he specifically said that there was a difference in the statement that he issued. The statement was only 130 words versus like over 300 words. They cut down previous statements. They want the statement only to give you the facts instead of all the forward guidance, because what Jerome Powell would constantly do is they would take action or not take action, and then he would say, well, here's what I think is going to happen in the future, and then the market would react pretty dramatically. So I like that they're just stating the facts here. That's a very economist thing to do. You know, I mean, it's all based on facts. I like that a lot. So I think that's a real positive. The second thing that is going to be happening with the Federal Reserve is that they're having task force, come in and evaluate how they communicate, because Kevin Warsh has criticized Federal Reserve communications in the past, arguing that it leads to policy errors and entangles the bank in markets, which Jerome Powell had a knack for doing. And that first statement, where if you look at how much he redlined, I mean, there was a ton of stuff that got cut out of there, which I really liked. I thought it was great, because instead of him putting his 2 cents in, he's reporting the facts. I think that can bode well long-term for the market reacting. And they're going to have these task force that come out, and they're going to look at their first principles. They're going to ask hard questions, examine the practices, look at alternatives, and really just eliminate forward guidance, which I think is really smart. What do you think about that? Because that's always seemed to be, it didn't even matter what the Fed did. It mattered what Jerome Powell said afterwards.
Right. So, no, I mean, I think that keeping it to the facts, right, like you don't want the market to react to, you know, somebody just predicting things outside of like where you're supposed to keep the scope to. It also probably, I would think, for him, like, makes him look better, because he's not just saying things that may or may not happen. It's just kind of, you know, reporting on what's actually going on. And then for the task force is the communication issues, that's like internally.
Yeah, they're doing like that meeting with yourself, right? They're seeing what they do well and don't do well and trying to adjust their policies moving forward.
Yeah, I think that's smart. You know, everybody needs a little tune up every once in a while.
Well, and you know what he also did is that they have that dot plot, right? And they're talking about maybe even getting rid of the dot plot altogether. So if you don't know what that is, it's where they make their predictions about what's going to happen. Kevin Warsh does not participate in the dot plot. His dot is non-existent.
No dot.
There's no Warsh dot on there. Jerome Powell would always put in what he thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
And if you're running a committee, and I'm not a politician, you're not either. If you're the one that's supposed to facilitate things, there's a difference between a facilitator and a participant, right? So, and if he's trying to facilitate the direction, I do like that he's trying to be impartial rather than shape policy based on his own agenda. I think that's a positive. So there was one dot missing there. That's another change that's happened. And what I like is that they're, it's kind of like when someone new gets elected and they have all these initiatives they're rolling out, and they're basically, what's clear to me is that there's a new sheriff in town, and we're going to see a different type of monetary policy than what we saw with Jerome Powell during his term as the Federal Reserve chairperson. So I like the lack of a dot plot. I like some of the things they're doing. Now we'll have to see how this all plays out. I mean,
right.
What happens on your first day at work, Sarah? Like, just think about, like, you show up at a job your first day. What do most people do?
Try to impress.
Yeah, they're on their best behavior, right? Yeah. So it's I think that's something that we can expect here. I mean, time will tell how this goes. I do like that there's some fresh ideas and some adjustments being made, because it did feel like at times that that Jerome Powell was playing politics. Like, they had that like magical rate cut before the elections and like all that stuff, which I wouldn't be surprised if that happens also. But I hope that this is a sign of things to come here, and that could lead to more balanced monetary policy than maybe political influences and bad measurements with some of the data sets.
Yeah, I agree. And I also agree that I think it'll take, we'll have to give it a little bit of time to kind of see how he continues to do things, and, just see how everything kind of plays out.
It's refreshing is probably the most important thing. So I think that's a good start. Now, what's interesting is you look at some of the predictions we talked about at the beginning of the year. They were talking about 1, maybe 2 rate cuts. Mm-hmm. Well, now you look at what the CME Group is predicting, and they have a predictions model just like everybody else. We've got another meeting in 35 days. There is, what's fascinating is that today there's a 63.7% chance we stay where we are, and a 36.3% chance rates are higher at the end of July meeting. September, there's only a 29.6% chance rates stay where they are. Everything else is higher, so that's another 70% plus or minus. October, 21% chance. December, it's in the 14.4% chance we have rates where they are. So it's clear to me there's probably going to be a hike if nothing changed, especially with what's happened with inflation and oil prices. And 9 of 18 members are expecting a hike. So what do you think? I mean, do you think they are going to make hikes? How many do you think will happen between now and the end of the year, Sarah?
I'm going to say 2.
2 below. So Bank of America thinks there's going to be 3. I don't agree with this. I think that's kind of aggressive. What led you to 2? And if it's just a gut, yeah, that's fine.
How many do you think there will be?
There's definitely going to be 1. We've got a midterm election coming up, and I don't want to underestimate what could happen before that, because we've seen that happen before, where they have these elections happen and there's a cut. Looking at oil's under $75 a barrel right now. The 10 years at 4.51%, and Bank of America. I'll tell you what I think in a second. Bank of America believes there's going to be 3. They changed their forecast, and they think there's going to be 3 quarter-point raises between now and the end of the year, getting to 4.25 to 4.5%. And part of that is because of inflation and what's going on with oil, because oil was up north. It was $111 a barrel in March. Now it's down, so that's obviously dropped down a little bit. The federal funds rate is. We know where it is now, and then kind of the conclusion about this here is that because of inflation, because of how the markets reacted, there's going to be more. I think there's probably going to be 1. I don't know if there's going to be more than that. I don't think anything's going to happen next meeting. That'd be my first observation. This conflict in Iran is going to be important, and I thought it would have been over by now the way they were talking last week, and it's still going on.
Right.
This may be going on for months, because you're also dealing with a government that is notoriously, they don't honor their word. I mean, I don't know how. Iran's not like some easy country to deal with,
Right.
So I think that's a problem. And until that gets resolved, you may see some rate hikes. I'd like to think there's only going to be 1, but it depends what happens in Iran. One's kind of my prediction. 3 seems a little high.
3 seems high. But I could see it being more than 1.
Yeah, I agree. I think 2 is a good number. I think 1 or 2 seems likely, and that's what a lot of people are predicting. So the Fed, and 9 of the 18 Fed members expect rates to go higher. So what does all this mean for housing? It looks like rates are. It's clear to me rates are not going to be going down anytime soon. Right now, rates are coming in. What's the number today? They're at 6.65%. So this is higher than we've seen for much of the year. You look at, where we were. This is probably the highest number we've been at all year. And last year they were still, May they were at 6.89, and end of June they were at 6.71 the end of June. So we're still about where we were last year.
Yeah.
So what does this all mean for housing, knowing where rates are coming in right now, and that we're in a hike climate, not a cut climate?
Yeah. So I think it means now's the time to really get out and try to lock in the rates before they go up. Obviously, assuming you find the right home. But nobody can predict exactly what will happen or when. But just like you can't hold out for rates to go down, you also don't want to. You have to do with whatever's in front of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if the right home is there, you have to work the numbers and try to make it work for you. But knowing that these are the predictions coming up, factor that in. If the right home is there and you think that you are able to secure the home, do it.
Well, and so I think that's all. To me, that's the advice you want to have no matter what the rates are.
Right.
Because especially in our market, you never know when that home's going to become available again. I remember one of the first clients I had, they really loved the home. I had met them at an open house, and they kept kicking themselves for passing on it over and over and over again. And then it got to a point where they said, forget it, we're not going to see that home. We need to adjust our standards a little bit.
Yep.
And that always tends to be the case with some buyers. So how do you coach people from going to, we want to wait for something better versus looking at what's ahead of them and making a move on it?
Well, kind of going through what's important to them both in the home and in the move, and what kind of timing do they have. If they're kind of on a lax schedule and it's really like, no, it has to be this exact home, then that's one situation. If your timing's a little bit tighter or the situation that you're in is no longer working for you, then you have to, you kind of have to like think outside of the box, adjust expectations in some cases, and just, put homes in front of people.
So when it comes to adjusting expectations, and we both know that a lot of times buyers, they come into a situation, they have one idea of like all these ideas, and it never works out that way, but they have this like perfect scenario in their head. Where do you see people adjusting and still being happy and comfortable with their decision? Like where are some of the adjustments that have worked out well for your clients?
I think in some cases it's switching up the location a little bit, maybe finding something where like taxes are a little bit lower, or you can get a little bit more bang for your buck in the terms of, what you're getting out of the house. That way you're still staying within budget and maybe getting more of what you want. In other cases, maybe being a little bit more open to not necessarily like full renovations, but some cosmetic work, or kind of pulling in pieces from like, hey, remember this home that you really liked that had this? You could do that here, And one piece of advice that I typically like to kind of go over with people or give people is, if you purchase the home as it is right now today, would you be able to live with it like this for 3 years before you do anything? Because one, time goes by pretty quickly. Like it flies. So, and you're typically, there's a lot of expenses that come with moving outside of just your down payment and your cash to close. You may need to hire movers. Maybe there's a couple things that safety wise or whatnot need to get handled right away. So there is money that gets spent right at the beginning. So if you find a home that there's a project that you could do to make it the dream home down the line, but if you're kind of at the top of your budget, if you can live with this place the way it is for 3 years, that's something to consider,
That's a really smart question, because you mentioned some of the unforeseen costs. Well, what about landscaping, right? That's either time or money. It's one of the two. And it's a lot of work taking care of landscaping on a property. I don't think people really estimate utilities that well, or they even pay attention to them in a lot of cases. Just getting furniture for the house, right? Like you want to have a TV in the family room and the living room, you got to buy both. Cable and internet is super expensive. Even if you're cutting the cord and going with like a YouTube TV, you still got to have an internet connection. I mean, how many devices? Think about how many devices are connected to your house right now. I got 3 kids, right? So 2 of them have cell phones. I've got a phone. I went on and we got a new router, and there was 16 different devices connected to the internet. And I'm like, wow. They have like Nintendo Switch and all these other things. So you've got to really make sure you're able to run the house. And you also want to be careful before you start making renovations that, like, how the house works, right? Like the light hits it differently. It's darker over here. Maybe we need a lighter paint color. That's a really smart question. And sometimes you want to get into the house before you start making all these changes that you think you need. Or like buying furniture and then like the furniture's too big for the space. Like this happens all the time to people. So that's a really great question to ask. And I think that more buyers should be asking themselves that. So when the other places I've seen where it makes sense for people to kind of adjust their expectations are also like the type of neighborhood they want to move into. Like some people, they have this idea they need to live in like a certain type of neighborhood, and they find something that's not quite there. The type of house, especially like when you're at that, do I go with like a starter single or a really nice townhome? Right. I think that can go either way. So you've really got to see what's going to work for you. And this is all very interesting because with rates kind of hanging where they are, I think there's going to be more opportunity for buyers to go out and get the home that they want, because there's going to be a lot of people pulling back from the market. Have you seen any of that where people are just kind of giving up or they're a little unsure? You're also dealing with a lot of listings, so there's probably, it's not quite the same, but what are you seeing from people like quitting on the market this time of the year?
So right now, I can't say that I've seen, like, from the buyer pool side. I can't really say that I've seen people just completely
Good.
pull out that weren't already out. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
From the listing standpoint, I mean, obviously, we're not able to, it's other agents that are typically bringing the buyers in. But, days on market has sometimes been a little bit higher as you're kind of scrutinizing the feedback. It hasn't specifically come back as a rate issue, but, I think as a seller, they're watching the rates as well, because that's going to trickle down, obviously, and impact
100%, yeah.
what's coming into them. And if you're a motivated seller, maybe being a little bit flexible there and understanding what the buyer's, ultimate monthly costs are going to be. And if you can make some adjustments on their end to ultimately get to settlement, then great.
I think that's really smart. And knowing that we're getting into the second half of the year, I mean, the fact that you're not seeing people quit, I think is also, there's more of an acceptance of where rates are than there were
Right.
2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
And the rates being where they are haven't had the same impact on housing. Now, if you look at what's going on, Logan Omotashami, he really identified 3 key things to watch for as we head into the second half of 2026 here. And, one of those things is, are we going to see positive movement in number of sales? And if you look at where the number of closed sales are, they're down about 5% in the greater Philadelphia area year over year. Now that obviously varies like county to county, and even into like some of the different towns inside the county and the school districts and everything else. So that's one, because right now we've seen that pending sales, I mean, we're basically around kind of the same number as last year. There was some lows, there were some highs, but can we get meaningful growth in the number of homes that are selling? I think that's going to be key, number one. Number two is the purchase application data, because purchase applications are like a lead indicator, and they usually are ahead of home sales by 30 or 90 days, because that's how long it takes to close a property.
Yep.
So last week we saw a decline of 3% week to week. The data's positive 5% year over year. I'm hoping that'll be positive locally. I mean, obviously, these are national numbers here, so that's going to be something to keep an eye on. And we still should have positive growth as long as rates don't go above 7%. That's going to be the number that would really, in my view, deter a lot of people. I don't know what you think, but that's...
7 is usually where we start to see people pulling out or really adjusting things. I mean, the rates have been like creeping up, but it hasn't been like a massive jump. And this is kind of the trend that's been going on for months now. So it doesn't feel, it's like putting a frog in a pot and then turning it on versus throwing a frog in boiling water. Isn't that a thing?
I've never heard of this before.
If
I hear what you're saying, though. It's
heats up
gradual
slowly,
versus the shock of it. Yes.
Yes, like people tend to kind of stay in versus if it's all of a sudden they hop out.
Is there a lot of frog boiling that goes on in the Hogue household at home? It's like a regular thing?
I thought that was like a known saying. I don't know if I did it.
It made
exactly
sense.
right.
No, I understood what you meant. I just doesn't mean my lack of anecdotes doesn't mean anything here. But I understood what you meant. So,
maybe it's a different animal. Maybe it's not a frog.
Oh, you made the point very clearly. So I think that's a really good point. And if we want to see some meaningful growth here, people got to start pulling the trigger. And I think when you get to 7. Even like 6, 8, 7, 5, and 7, there's really not a meaningful difference, but the shock of it is going to be a big deal. And rates are near the yearly highs, so that's going to be the key, number 2. And then number 3 is housing inventory growth continues at the pace that we've seen. I mean, through the month of April and May, we've seen like 9.5% growth in active inventory. If you look at where we are compared to last year, we're actually right about the same number of homes for sale. Inventory's up 0.25% year over year, but in our market, it's up a little more substantially. And I think that's the good news, because we're in one of the tighter inventory markets. So, and we're going to see a traditional decline that starts probably in the next couple months when we get towards the end of the summer here. So those are the things that I see as the keys to housing here and what you want to kind of monitor. And with rate policy, I mean, rates just aren't going to go down. So I think with having a stable market, in my view, if you're considering a decision, this is a better environment to be in, where you got a lot of people that are being cautious on the sidelines versus like everyone rushing in, and you've got a ton of competition. So there's some opportunity there. And anything you feel like might shape the housing market in the second half of the year before we jump into this AI story?
No, I mean, I think that pretty much covers it. We're just gonna kind of have to watch and see where everything goes. But yeah.
And there's always opportunities in the market for agents, for clients, for consumers. You got to look for them, and you can't look if you quit. Right. And that's the thing I would really caution people against, because if you're moving because you need more space, you got a job reload, like all those things are happening regardless of what the Federal Reserve does or what the housing market does.
Right.
So that's the reason to stay in.
People that have their homes on the market, that are listing them, they may have like. Some people have to move. So, like that's some opportunity as well. So yeah, you kind of have to keep at it and don't give up, and eventually it comes together.
So speaking of giving up, it's a good segue on your part, Sarah. There's some buyers who have given up on the idea of humans helping them. According to a survey from Veterans United, 53% of prospective home buyers are comfortable purchasing a home without any human involvement. Now, if they've dealt with some of these morons that you and I have dealt with, I can understand the reasons for these surveys.
Yeah.
So 9 out of 10 buyers, according to the survey, have no qualms about handing over their personal financial information to an AI-powered lender tool in exchange for tailored mortgage advice. 68% already trust the guidance they get back. The survey for this, with 53% of people are comfortable buying a home without human involvement. What do you think leads to that kind of answer? Because I have some thoughts on this. I'm curious what your observation is seeing that sort of number, Sarah.
All right, so I'm wondering if so these are civilians who plan to buy a home within the next.
And it's only 400 people, so take that for what it's worth.
All right, so I'm thinking either they had a bad experience before.
Bingo.
Or
ding ding ding.
They've had really good experiences doing things through AI.
That could be it. And I'd also say they might have had a good experience and their agent made it look easy and they feel like the agent didn't do anything.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that not everybody sees. So oftentimes when everything looks so smooth and so easy on the surface, like there could have been a lot going on, that you're not aware of.
Yeah, and I think that has a lot to do with this here. When you look at this number, there is a mindset that agents don't do anything. And there's a lot of bad agents out there. We know the stats. 75% are out their first year of the business. 87% fail in 5 years.
Yep.
And you and I have both dealt with these kind of people, good or bad, and we've had to do deals with them where they don't want to do anything or they're just totally incompetent. So there's just a lot of, and this is any industry, by the way. Yep. Accountants, attorneys, you name it.
Sure.
So where I think you're missing the boat on AI, because there's like all these people out there like AI is going to replace real estate agents, or there's this one quote, well, the agents who use AI will replace the agents who don't use it. It's like the dumbest stuff I've heard. Actual negotiation, emotional support. Mm-hmm. Think about how many times you had to be a therapist, Sarah. You're really good at that. Mm-hmm. Crisis management.
Yep.
Local knowledge, meaning like you don't want to be on this side of the street. Here's the difference in being in this part of the neighborhood. That stuff happens constantly. Those are the things that I think you're going to really get in trouble. There's apparently 23 tasks that agents do, and a lot of the tasks are MLS entry, scheduling showings, drafting contracts, transaction coordination. They're kind of the low-value ones, but where humans lead out of those 23 tasks are what I just shared with you. So, and to me, that's probably like the most important stuff.
Right. Well, and then there's the other piece of it is the listing agent. Like these are buyers. As a listing agent, I'm sure this has happened to you. Have you been approached by people, like just individual buyers outside of an agent that are wanting to purchase the home? So then you have to figure out, is this a situation where I can be a dual agent, where I can do both sides of the deal? Or if not, I don't necessarily want to work with just a buyer. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of pieces and a lot of things that need to come together. And if they don't know what they're doing, the process, the timelines, how everything goes, like you want them to have representation.
I'll take it one step further that even if let's say they do have representation, a lot of representation doesn't know what the contract means and says. You and I have been in this situation where someone uploads a contract into ChatGPT and it tells you something that's absolutely wrong, and they treat it like gospel. And they have no. Meanwhile, we've been through these situations before. Right. Attorneys have given opinions on these things, and sometimes they're saying like, we need clarification on this, and then you give the clarifications exactly what the AI, Chat GPT, whatever you're using, is telling you, and it's like, oh, okay. Like, I mean, they're not. It's not a proven process. I think there are some things that you can delegate. I mean, a great agent delegates MLS entry. I mean, you don't put your listings in the MLS, do you? No. Yeah. Well, I mean, that was like one of the first things I delegated. Scheduling showings. I would have people schedule showings for me. Drafting contracts. I think that's something you can train someone to do, but you have to have an agent look at it and make sure it's done right, because that's who's responsible for the contract.
Right.
And I think there's the problem with AI is that, like, what if AI makes a mistake? Then who's responsible?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So do you think you're going to see, I mean, I think we're going to see more of these surveys. That's just kind of my point of view on this. I mean, what are things that people who think agents can be replaced should be aware of, besides the emotional support, the contract negotiation, the local expertise?
Well, all right. I think also for the people that maybe answered that they would be, 53% are comfortable buying a home without direct human involvement. Maybe that's how you feel at the beginning of it. I think it would be interesting to see as they get started in the process, the likelihood of wanting to have an actual human involved, I'm sure goes up. Like maybe for your initial stuff, you're like, oh, this is great. But then once you're actually getting into it, I think having somebody there most people probably switch over to that train of thought. So yeah, there's the emotional support. There's the being able to give case studies and examples of kind of how this plays out. Being able to just pick up the phone and have an actual conversation versus something where you're asking questions and having to read through the response. And it's not a normal conversation. And in the course of a normal conversation, I feel like other questions come up that you can then answer, and you can just get ahead of more and make sure that somebody fully feels comfortable and aware of everything that's going on.
That's a really great point, and that also humanizes the experience versus this is what the contract says, and it becomes very sterile. And if you look at this survey, you go deeper on it, the report includes a really key caveat that a top 10% agent outperforms an AI-assisted seller, and a seller using AI outperforms an agent of average skill. And I think that's probably pretty accurate. That would be my guess, because the average agent doesn't know what the contract says. They don't know how to fill it out. A top 10% agent knows how to outmaneuver the other people, and that can really go a long way. And so, I mean, the quality of the agent determines whether this is an advantage or not. And I think that's what consumers need to hear. That's what agents need to hear. And the people that don't think they need to build their skills or work on their scripts or read through the contracts, that's going to mean more and more with these transactions with AI, that if you can actually understand it and become an expert in it, rather than just be an average agent who's an order taker, there's going to be a massive difference there. So I think that's probably the most important thing. And right now, according to Realtor.com, 82% of active buyers and sellers already use AI for housing insights. So you're dealing with it. How often does that come up at appointments? Have you had anyone ask the AI generated questions, or bring the printout or anything like that?
I've had it happen in one appointment for the listing side of stuff. On the buy side, I'm sure that they do that in front of me. No, but I'm sure that it happens.
I'm sure it does. And when I was getting started in the business, one of my key differentiators were questions to ask other agents, and I would give my answers it was kind of like a teacher's version of the test, and then we gave some blank copies. And that was really effective, because what ended up happening is they would ask them important questions that most people don't know what to ask. The average consumer doesn't know what to ask. And when they start asking those questions, it really uncovers who's the expert and who isn't. So I think that's something you need to be prepared for more and more. That's just how it's going to go right now. So this is something that you really need to be aware of. And it's AI does things well. I don't think there's any question there. It's a great tool to use. You're going to see more people thinking they can do this on their own, but they need that help with negotiation, emotional support, crisis management, hyper-local knowledge. That's where you can really shine as an agent. And great agents are already doing this stuff, by the way.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. The 250th anniversary right here in the city of Philadelphia. A ton of stuff going on. I'm kind of glad I'm not going to be here, but that's a whole other story. We'll break that down next for everybody, as well as some incredible new listings and a ton of open houses next on Tool Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM.
Have you considered a career in real estate? Do you want control over your income? Whether you have a license,
I'm so glad I'm not going to be here for the
today
first.
at 610.
Oh my gosh.
Like going to your houses, like that's
Yeah.
go to the pool, like
Yeah.
good to go.
Yeah.
Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX main line.
If you're looking for a mortgage in the greater Philadelphia area, and by that
It's gonna be
you'll be down the beach.
Yeah, we're leaving.
Delaware, Maryland, even Florida.
Brynn is apparently really good at softball, like better than I thought. And she punched Leo the other day. I thought she was gonna knock him out.
Really?
I mean, she's pretty strong.
Any unique home buying situation.
And it was pretty funny.
Why did she punch him?
Just being a dick. He totally desered it. Like,
Yeah.
just wait till your kids get older.
Yeah.
You're not even.
Oh no, I know.
She said something, or he said something to her, and he's a real smart ass. Like, she's like wound up and hit him. I'm like, man, it looks like it hurt.
Equal housing opportunity, subject credit
Oh
approval,
my
NMLS
God.
3029, NMLS 1390366, NMLS consumer access.
And
The Tom Toole Sales Group
so
is
she's on this like
the
district
#1
team. Now
RE/MAX
they got me to coach a district team, but they have 5 coaches.
$165
Because like
million
no one can
in
like it's
2021.
like 3 nights a week. I'm like, dude, I can't.
Right.
I told the guy, I'm like, yo, I had like an appointment. Like I need to like go like, and he's like, I get it. It's
No
fine.
one knows greater
Right.
Philly better
And
than you do. We know real
So she
estate
was supposed to have it tonight, but it got rained out. And it's every Tuesday, Thursday up until July, and then next week it's Tuesday, Wednesday. So we're going out Wednesday night, and then Gina's going to this dance competition with Bridget at Foxwoods Casino in Connecticut for a whole freaking week.
Oh, wow.
So I'm just like, all right, guys, we're going on the shore because I'm not gonna like, what am I gonna do? Stay home and like,
Right.
we're going to work. See you guys later.
Right.
Like, worst parent ever.
Isn't a transaction to us.
Especially like
It's a
Brent. Like, I mean,
If you're buying or
he was in
selling a
DC
home,
right now,
call
this
the Tom
national
Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX
nerd
main
convention.
line at 610
Who's he there with?
kids, friends from school. They took a bus from the school.
TomToole.com. That's
He,
TomToole.com. Sell your home for more, and remember
I'll
the
tell you
real
after this,
estate
it's pretty
golden rule.
interesting.
You always get more when you work with Tom
Competing in
Toole.
like this
I'm
national
Tom Toole,
contest
the
like
Tom
tomorrow, and he has
Toole
1
Sales
hour to
Group
do it.
at
It's like, it
RE/MAX
sounds like
main
something
line.
off of
If you're
like
thinking
a
of becoming a real estate agent
Is it like
in
a
the greater
puzzle?
Philly area, I have
kind
a
of. Yeah,
special
it's
offer
like
for you.
no. They give him like an assignment. It's like Top Chef. You ever watch Top? They're like, you have 1 hour to make the.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's going
on.
Pretty much, yeah.
Nationally.
Like the Lego Master Show. We watched
Yeah.
that. We watched that too.
Successful career, a great life, and an unbeatable culture.
All right, I think only 2 of these listings are coming to the market this week. So you're not going to be here next week, right?
Right.
Even our brand new agents average 17 to 24 sales.
And the next
a
week I
year.
won't be here.
We offer proven systems and
You want to do it by yourself, or you want to
We
skip?
help you set more appointments
skip.
and sell more houses.
I got you.
Now here's the offer. If you don't have a real estate license yet, we offer real estate scholarships so you can get one for free. Check it out at realestatescholarshipprogram.com or visit the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX main line at tomtoole.com. That's tomtoole.com. Get more out of your real estate career, and remember the real estate golden rule. You always get more when you work with Tom Toole.
All right. Welcome back to Tool Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole. She's Sarah Tymon. We both work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Mainline, the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. We've got a ton of stuff to do to celebrate the 250th in Philadelphia. We're going to share with you Sarah's favorite picks, which I think will not be doing any of these things, but we'll tell them about you. Tell you about them anyway. So if you get some value out of this, you like what you hear, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, and you want to schedule a call with Sarah, talk about your real estate goals, selling or buying a home, click on the link right in the comments. She has you covered. All right, Sarah, so you're going to Canada for 4th of July. Very un-American. This is not true, but you'll be up there visiting some family. What do you guys usually do on the 4th if you're around here? I mean, I like going to the shore. That's just me. But there's a ton of stuff going on, so I thought we'd kind of talk about this a little bit. Everyone can kind of make their plans. There's festivals, parades, fireworks, you name it. It's all going on the end of next week.
Yeah, actually, the last couple of years we've been down at the shore for the 4th, but and I think before that we were usually, I guess we were in the city, so it was like a little bit different than it'll be this year.
City is interesting because they have obviously the 4th of July festival, the Welcome America. They have Christina Aguilera is going to be playing there this year.
Oh my God!
Would have been awesome in like 2000 when I was in college. That would have been great. Pretty big act. I mean, that's exciting. Yeah. There's also the World Cup elimination game that's going to be going on, which I have not been to any World Cup games. Those things look incredible. My neighbor's from Norway, and he was at the Norway game last night in the Meadowlands, and it looked insane. So I think if you got tickets, have fun at that. But there's a lot of stuff going on for the people who live in the suburbs like Sarah and myself. So there's a 4th of July parade in Garrett Hill and Rosemont. That's one of the things happening. It's 9:30 to 1 at the Rosemont Business Campus on July 4th because July 4th is a Saturday this year, so there's a lot going on. Skip Back has fireworks 9 p.m. at on Bridge Road in Collegeville. Narberth Park, right on Windsor Ave. So the big baseball field, right when you're there, they're going to have fireworks. That's at 9 p.m. There's going to be live music at 7. They've got a parade that goes on earlier in the day. So Narberth's a great place to hang out. You got Kerr Park on Park Lane in Downingtown's got fireworks. There's more. I mean, this goes on and on here. Red, White, and Ridley Park. It's a pretty good 4th of July name. I like that. They have a parade, games, vendors, fireworks. That's on East Ward Street. There's Good Neighbor Day in Downingtown. You've got this is pretty wild to me. I don't know if you heard about this one. So in Valley Forge, this is not far from you, Sarah. You could go do this.
Yeah.
In Valley Forge, they're going to go to the Continental Army Campground where George Washington's Army camped in the winter of 1777. The Valley Forge Alliance is going to host a public celebration at the Maurice Stevens House, and they're going to be reading the Declaration of Independence at 10 a.m., 12:30, and 3. I mean, there's going to be some interesting characters that show up to this thing. I could see some Revolutionary War buffs.
Oh yeah, I feel like people will be dressed up.
It's probably going to be pretty cool. The nice thing about you can probably just leave if you don't like it. Just go for a walk in the park and be done with it. Valley Forge Park's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that's all going on. I couldn't imagine listening. I mean, I've read the Declaration of Independence, but I wonder if it's going to be like a dramatic reading.
I hope so.
Like slam poetry. Remember that show on HBO?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's fun. I mean, I guess it must not be too long of a production if they're doing it multiple times. So
it's one page, right? It's my kind of document here. So that's going on in Valley Forge Park. That's pretty cool. There's going to be a ton of stuff going on. I think the point is that and there's a list on Visit Mainline Today, which has all the different fireworks displays. There's one at Longwood Gardens. I'm sure that's going to be pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. Do you ever go to Longwood Gardens?
Yeah. I feel like we've gone in the winter for like light show things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I'm sure Longwood will do a great job.
I've seen the Conshohocken Borough fireworks. These are pretty good. Now they're doing it July 3rd, which I think is smart because everyone's going to be shooting stuff off July 4th. July 3rd, 9:15. It's at 9th Ave and Freedley Street. And they do that every single year. And you can see it anywhere in the borough, which is pretty cool. So that's a lot of fun. And then on the morning of July 4th, they have a soapbox derby down Fayette Street. Now that sounds fun.
Yes, I have not been to that, but I have heard of that.
I'm making a soapbox this year? You and Eric, and you bring the whole family down.
Yeah, right.
Be very safe, right? You have an infant, a 5-year-old. It'll be perfect. Narberth Park's another good one. I mean, these are all over the place. I would just mainlinetoday.com. Just go there. They're going to tell you the closest one you can get to. Tredyffrin Township does one. Upper Marion. And these are all right at like dusk, 9 o'clock. So there's probably going to be a ton of fireworks going off, I'd imagine. And then you've got Delaware River at Penn's Landing. That'll accompany the Welcome America. And the Seal's going to be at Welcome America. Will Smith, what? DJ Jazzy Jeff. I imagine they're going to sing Summertime, right? Like, that's got to be happening.
Oh, yeah.
It's hosted by Wanda Sykes from Media.
Oh, that's fun.
Did you ever go to the concert on the Parkway?
So I think that I did once, like many years ago.
I saw a giant fight there the last time I was
But yeah,
there.
that's what you were saying.
It's not if you're gonna want to be there all day, it's like when you go to the Eagles parade and you're like waiting on the Parkway all day.
Right.
It's gonna be a long afternoon. So
Right.
that would be, I would maybe try to pull up somewhere, find a place to hang out and like watch it from afar. That would be my advice to people.
Right. Now, how does your dog do with the fireworks?
It's a good question. We're usually not around the dog when we go see the fireworks, so I have no idea.
Nobody knows.
Our other dog when we used to live in the city, so we lived right at like Broad and Spring Garden, and our other dogs, they'd be having like a meltdown because it's very loud in the city. And then we could walk right to the Parkway. It was 12 blocks, and they'd be like shaking the entire time and all that. I don't know about the other dog. I mean, he's so far so good. What about Lou? How's Lou?
Lou does not care at all. He is like, he just does not care. But I've had dogs before who lose their mind, and they are just like, you feel so terrible for them. They're like so nervous and so scared.
Yeah, I've heard some stories about. I mean, it is tough. I mean, my kids have gotten scared when they were younger. Like now they're older and they're like, this is awesome. And I mean, especially like we go down the shore. There's people lighting stuff off at every single beach. Like like no, there's no laws at that point. Like it's super cool, but it's young kids do get scared. How do your kids deal with it? I mean, Liam TBD, I guess.
Yeah, we'll have to find out. Maddie does not. So she likes the fireworks, but like I don't think, like, she doesn't like the noise. So
I don't blame her.
I feel like she like covers her ears.
Yeah. Get some sparklers.
Yeah,
that'll do the trick.
We'll have to see what Liam does.
I hope it doesn't wake him up. Like that's the worst thing that could happen.
Right. Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, hope everyone has a great 4th of July. There's a ton of stuff going on, and this time of year around the greater, it gets kind of like, that's really what you want to spend your time doing. So
yeah,
that's what I'd recommend. Go check out what's going on locally. It's going to be a disaster. Like I would not want to be in Philadelphia with the World Cup and everything going on unless I had World Cup tickets or I live there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I feel like if you were able to get around because you're already down there would be so many fun things to do. To like go in to do them. I mean, I think you just have to be in the mindset of here we go.
You're waiting a long time.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I know the feeling. Coming from two people that used to live in the city and have moved out, I think our perspective is good in many ways. So
yes.
All right, so we got 2 killer new listings, and we got a ton of open houses coming up this weekend. I really want to talk about those because 4th of July week, everyone kind of takes a little bit of time off. 4th of July is a Saturday, but there's a great opportunity to come check out some incredible properties we have coming up here. The first new listing is at 1002 Farm Lane in Westchester. This is in Westtown Township. It's a 4-bed, 2.5-bath home, 2,590 square feet, being offered at $950. And this home has an amazing pool. It's right by Ruston High School off of 926 and Shiloh Road. The home's in great shape, very open floor plan. It's got a very picturesque lot in Plumley Farms. It was built in 1979. It's on 1.2 acres. And that's going to be open from 1 to 3 on the 28th. And the 28th is a Sunday. Should have checked this.
The 28th is Sunday.
Sunday, 1 to 3. And if you can't get in, then Sarah can get you in by appointment. This is a can't miss house. And the in-ground pool in the back and the backyard space is pretty incredible.
Yes. Let's see. We've also got another one coming here in Pottstown, 27 Creekside Drive. So this is a townhouse. It's a 3-bed, 1 full, 2 half-bath, 1,658 square feet. This was built in 2003, so a relatively newer build, being offered at $337,700. Hitting the market on Friday with an open house on Sunday from 1 to 3. Otherwise, it would be by appointment only. And in this community, the HOA is $210 per month. So when you're looking at HOA fees, like that's not bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's a really good number. And this is a meticulous property here. I mean, it's in excellent shape. Both these homes are can't miss properties that are launching this weekend. And we've also got some open houses. So, Sarah, you got 2 happening over on Haggis Ford Road.
Yep.
You want to share that?
Yep. So we have got 2 open houses coming up both Saturday and Sunday from 12 to 2 both days. And very, very cool property. Definitely one that you want to get out and see in person. The the lot is amazing. The privacy back there is great, and the home is great inside as well.
Yeah, this is in Penn Valley. It's being offered at $1.5 million. Incredible in-ground pool. You can't even see the house from the road, which that's going to be the right move for a lot of people. Very open floor plan, massive deck outside. If you're looking to have like an outdoor party, this is the spot to go to. So super cool home. We've also got another open house at 769 Bradford Terrace in Westchester. That's Sunday from 12 to 2. This is it's really like a 4-bedroom townhome. It's got a finished basement with a full bathroom down there. Another meticulous property, and that's being offered at $500,000. And that's 12 to 2 on Sunday. We've also got an open house on 2005 Dauphin in Fishtown, 12 to 2 on Sunday. This is a 2-unit, rarely offered in Fishtown. This home being offered at $375,000. That's going to be open Sunday, 12 to 2.
And then we're going to have 8 Matthews
Yes.
In Chester Springs. That is going to be Sunday. The time has not yet been determined, so that will be getting finalized here today, and we will get that posted everywhere so that people can find it and come.
Yeah, that's offered at $850,000. It's a 4-bedroom in Chester Springs. Another meticulous property that's in incredible shape, and that's Downingtown East High School over there. And we have our last open house as of right now. There could be more. 11 Chateau Circle in Chesterbrook. This is a 4-bedroom, and it's a real 4-bedroom. The 4th bedroom's upstairs, but it's got a door, closet, all that good stuff. 2.5 baths. Right inside Chesterbrook, and that's 11 to 1 on Sunday, and that's being offered at $585,000. So I mean, and all of these homes, if you can't get to the opens, Sarah can get you in. All you got to do is click on the link. So we got a lot of opportunities to go out and find properties this weekend. So come check them out. That's all we got, Sarah.
All right.
Have a great trip. Happy 4th of July. Sarah won't be, or you won't be here next week. I will. You can follow Sarah at Ty_Time. That's TY_TIME. On Instagram, you can follow me at Tom Toole 3RD. And we'll be back next week on Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM.